Hi, my name is Lena and welcome to my channel, and this is one of the I Will Not Entertain videos. I Will Not Entertain, it's a book club, GoodReads book club, GoodReads group that Devin created from indie Insomniac. And basically we chose a book with very mixed reviews and very mixed ratings, read it and to see it for ourselves what works and what doesn't, what people might like about this book and what they might hate about this book. So in March, Devon kind of gave us a free ticket. He said that we go with green, so either book cover should be green or green needs to be in the name of the author or in the title of the book, and I chose this book. It's Dune Messiah by Frank Herbert, and it's the second book in this Dune series. So it probably was mistake because I cannot talk about the second book without talking about the first one. Well, I'll try. So about the world. The story takes place on the planet Dune, Arrakis. The same planet where the first book, the first story took place. And Arrakis, the population of Arrakis, that part that lives in desert, it's called Fremen. And now, well, I'll have to talk a bit about the first book. It's about the Dune book. So in this book, we follow Paul Atreides, who is of a good family. He is of a noble birth. His father is Duke Letha Atreides. And they come to the planet Arrakis to take over the production of spice. Arrakis is the only place where spice can be found, and spice is very addictive. So it basically, it's kind of a drug, although it's never called that. Spice is very addictive, so it helps certain people to change their state of mind, their consciousness. So, for example, we have a guild of steersmen. So they need spice to navigate their spaceships between stars. And not only they won't be able to do that safely when they will be deprived of spice, they will more likely die. So spice is very addictive, and they need spice to survive, and they need spice to navigate their ships, and they are the only one who does this space voyages between planets. So they kind of hold monopoly on that, and they have very good income, very good profits from that. And the spice can be found only on Arrakis. And we have different schools who has their own philosophy and religion and their own mind trainings and body trainings, muscle trainings, very complex way of life it's Bene Gesserit school, who their ultimate goal to create a Kvizach Haderach. When they take spies, these women, Bene Gesserit is a sisterhood. They can work as lie detectors. They can predict future to some extent. The ones who are called Reverend Mothers, they can predict future, but there are parts of future, there are parts of the universe where they cannot go. So they want to create this male Reverend Mother, something like that. And they try to achieve it through controlled breeding. So basically, although they are very skilled, for example, in combat and in situation analysis, they are clever, they are observant, they are a great help to a man whom they will be told to marry or just to become a concubine to. But they are still, their main purpose is breeding. So some people find it difficult and disturbing. And we have Bennett Lux. Sorry, guys. This group, they actually, as I understood it, use genetic modifying. So they go about this whole business the other way, through genetics, through modifying, through experiments. And all of them, they need spies. And right now, the production of spies is controlled by Fremen and their emperor. So basically, the entire book, Dune Messiah, is about a conspiracy to kill the emperor and his concubine. And it filled with dialogues. Like first, probably 2/3 of a book, half of the book are dialogues. And you would think, well, okay, dialogues, good dialogues, they're quick, they're snappy, they're witty, they're entertaining. Not at all. Those dialogues are about the conspirators, and the conspirators are the representatives of the groups of the guild, of steersmans, of the Bene Gesserit, the Reverend Mother, and of the Bene Tleilaxu. And it's very interesting, by the way, Bene Tleilaxu, they called also face dancers. So they can take any shape and any appearance they want. And it kind of reminded me of the Game of Thrones. And I think probably Frank Herbert and his Dune series influenced that. Well, anyway, so those dialogues between these representatives of different philosophies of different mental training. So they are kind of loaded with double meaning and with subtle um, insults. There is no love lost between those three groups. So those dialogues, they are very, very slow paced. And you are constantly explaining about this about those meanings that you cannot get because you are a human being. You didn't get this mental training and you have no idea about this philosophy and so on. So those dialogues are not witty, are not snappy, are not quick. Sometimes they are very difficult to get through. And the story itself, it's very, very slow paced. At the rare moments when some action takes place, and I don't mean fighting, I mean even when a person just goes from one place to another, when person actually does anything, the story is very high paced and enjoyable. And I have heard, I think Steve Donahue said that this book should never have been a separate book, that it should have been a preface to the third book. The book is important. It shows how world has changed after the first book. So basically, the world was multi-religious. There was, there still are many ethnicities, many peoples, and they had their own religions. And there were attempts to unify these religions, to exchange them for a single one, and those attempts failed. This book takes place after 12 years of something that is called by jihad. So 12 years of conquering and murdering billions of people, but now they have one religion. So they kind of united those people under one religion. And so these Fremen, they have won. They control Arrakis, their planet. They used to be kind of not exactly slaves, but they were treated almost like slaves on their own planet. And now they're still unhappy. And this book explains what happened, what really happened with simple soldiers and with siblings who are basically treated like gods, and who had very supernatural qualities to them. Basically prediction and so on. This is a very important book for the series. I suppose it moves the story forward from Paul Atreides to actually his children. They also Frank Herbert found a way to return one of my favorite characters to this book, to second book. So it's very slow paced. It's very dense. It's kind of about Well, there are some small happy moments, but basically it's kind of a very grim book. It's enjoyable. Some scenes are very exciting, but at the same time it's very slow paced and it's very dense and it's very demanding in some sort, in some way, and that's why even fans of the series find this book the least favorite. I honestly don't know what to tell. What else to tell? It's kind of easy when you talk about YA, and when you talk about Frank Herbert, it's not so easy. So the only drawback I find with this book that it was unevenly paced, mostly slow paced, and that the story itself was very short. It's nothing more, I think, than a conspiracy and how it all turned out. But you cannot, I guess, read the third book without reading the second. And it wasn't that bad. It was enjoyable. And the most funny thing is that I read it before, many years ago in translation. I think I was in college and my brother was at school and he was into sci-fi at that time and he was borrowing books from his friends, and I can say now that I read the first one, the Dune, and the second one, Dune Messiah, because I remembered basically everything. And I have no idea whether this book put me off the Dune series or they just never come my way. I have no idea. I will try. And I also, when I was kind of writing at the time. I wanted to be a writer. I wrote stories constantly, every evening, and I stripped this book of every idea it has, and there are plenty of ideas. And I haven't even noticed it. Only now, on rereading, I understood that I basically robbed this book of all the ideas connected to Alia. Well, thank you for watching. Goodbye and happy reading.